In the first Mishnah of Rosh Hashana, we're going to learn about different days that are considered to be the beginning of the year. The beginning of the year means that they start. So the first thing that we're going to have is about a king. And the first of Nisan is the first day for the years of the king. The king's year begins on the first of Nisan. That means when the first of Nisan comes around, he now goes into his next year. It's considered the next year of his rule once the first of Nisan passes. The first of Nisan is also the Rosh Hashana for Yamim Tovim, which means that the first of Nisan is the order of the Yom Tov. That makes Nisan being the first Yom Tov, and that makes Pesach to be the first Yom Tov, Shavuos to be the second Yom Tov, and Sukkot to be the third Yom Tov. So the first of Nisan is the Rosh Hashana of two things, for the kings and for the Yom Tovim. The next day on the calendar is the first of Elul, according to the Tanna Kama, or the first of Tishrei, according to other Tanoim. And it is the Rosh Hashanah for Maisa Behema. Every 10th Behema has to be brought as a carbon, and you're not allowed to give the carbon from 1 year. You're not allowed to give Maisa from 1 year for another year. So therefore, if a person, let's say, has 10 animals 1 year, and then it comes the first of Elul, according to the Tanna Kama, or the first of Tishrei, according to Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Shimon, if in the next year he has other animals, he's not allowed to use those animals as the carbon. He must give a behema from the previous year's animals. The first of Tishrei, which is considered to be our Rosh Hashanah, what we call nowadays Rosh Hashanah, it's Rosh Hashanah for very many things. The first thing is Lashonim, which means that that's the day that Hashem judges us. It's a new year, which means that Hashem is now judging us from the past year and is going to decide for the new year. The next thing that it's the beginning of, the first of Tishrei, is for Shemitah. There are many, many mitzvahs that are involved in Shemitah, which means every 7th year. So we have over here that there's a mitzvah to rest the land, there's an avera to work the land, you're not allowed to cut the trees, you're not allowed to harvest the grain, you're not allowed to cut the grapes, all fruits must be left hefker, and all loans, any money that was lent to other people, you're not allowed to collect those loans. As a mitzvah to let go of those loans. The next thing, the third thing that the first of Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah, is for Yovel, every 50th year. And again, there are many mitzvahs. There's a mitzvah not to work the land. There's a mitzvah not to cut the grapes, and also not to harvest. The fourth thing that the first of Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah is for planting, which means that there's a mitzvah called Arla, which means you're not allowed to eat from the tree for the first 3 years of its growth. So the year starts and ends on Rosh Hashanah. And also on the 4th year, there's Neter Revai, which is that you have to bring the fruits that grow to the Beis HaMikdash. The fifth and last thing that the first of Tishrei, Rosh Hashanah, is for Yerakos, which means for produce that grows. And the importance of this is when it comes to giving Truma and Maisa, that you're not allowed to give Truma and Maisa from 1 year on another year. So therefore, what grows between one Rosh Hashanah, between the first of Tishrei and the 29th day of Elul, you must make sure to give all of the produce, the Truma Gedola, the Meiser Rishon, and so on. And the last Rosh Hashanah mentioned in our Mishnah, it's machlokes between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, whether it is the first of Shvat or if it's Tu B'Shvat, and that's the Rosh Hashanah for the trees. For the trees, the Rosh Hashanah is not like what we had for the produce, which is the first of Tishrei. For trees, it's considered from the first of Shvat or Tu B'Shvat according to Beis Hillel. And the Trumas and Meises must be given accordingly from that year and not for the previous year.